The other thing is consider the timeline to complete the application. So you might have, based on local processes, you may require, multiple levels of approval for certain things like the authorizing resolution, certification and assurances, things like that. And so looking at the application in advance and understanding your local processes and how things need to flow and building that timeline out and making sure that you're getting those approvals in time to submit the application will be very important. So on that topic, don't wait until the last day to submit your application. There's a couple things with that. One, you might have overlooked something, or if you wait too long to access it, you might not have realized, oh no, I have to go through a bunch of hoops to get this done and I don't have enough, the timeline remaining doesn't allow for that to occur. You could wait till the last day and then reach out to ODOT staff, but maybe we're in meetings all day or whatever and don't get around to your question, and now you're making assumptions and just have to submit an application that maybe wasn't completed correctly. There could be technical issues, outages, illnesses, so many things. So, the application is open until 11:59 p.m. on May 4th. And if you want to submit it at 11:59 on May 4th, that is your choice, but it comes with risks, and it's just important for you to acknowledge those, going into this, that the due date is not a suggestion, it's a deadline. So if you don't meet that deadline for whatever reason, then our hands are kind of tied. And so the sooner you access the application, the more opportunity we have to work with you on any questions you have, the more time we have to address technical issues. So yeah, just word of advice is, don't wait until the last week even to open the application for the first time. You have the save and resume feature. You can, break it down into pieces and slowly chip away at it. And that's going to be a lot less stressful for you, I'm sure. So we're nearing the end here before we get to our question and answer section. I only have 3 brief questions for you just to test your knowledge, make sure you were paying attention, committing the important stuff to memory. So they're going to be some true and false questions. If you could just put your answer in the questions pod, and I will have Paula just kind of call out to me what she's seeing. I'll just wait a few moments after I read a question, let her kind of give me some of the responses as she's seeing, and then I'll reveal the answer. So the first question is, you should save attachments as you go. True or false?
I got false, not an option. Attachments do not save. Can't save them. False, false, false. Got a lot of falses. Attachments do not save. Still false.
Paula, are you seeing any answers in the questions pod?
Can you hear me? Uh-oh, hold on.
I can hear you, Paula.
Okay, I thought my sound went out. So yeah, I got a lot of falses. Not an option.
Well, I'm not seeing any responses. I'm not sure if we're experiencing a technical glitch or if I've just lost everybody. So I'll just go ahead and reveal the answer. The answer is false. As we've mentioned a couple times, attachments do not save, so upload them at the time of submission. Question 2, an application should be submitted for each project request. True or false? I don't see any answers in the question pod. It's very strange. Okay, I'm seeing a true, false, 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 true. Not anymore. False, unless for urban and rural. True, false. Okay. So mixed bag. So the answer is false. You will submit one application for all project requests. So you, and to Sean's point, and the only exception is if you are operating in a rural and urban area, you would submit an application for each area, but those applications would then include all projects for that area. Final question. All required forms and templates for the application will be accessed via the ODOT website. Whoa, go back. Oh, I just revealed the answer. True. Applicants will access all required forms and the application checklist on the ODOT website. Okay. So, before I get into all the questions in the questions pod, I do want to make a quick note. So we have established a transit programs mailbox. And so for the application cycle, because it's one application, people will direct all questions to that inbox for response. So the address for that email is transit.programs@dot.ohio.gov. So if you have any questions related to your application, please direct them here. The benefit of that is, you know, it increases the response rate from ODOT, and it kind of ensures a quicker response time because instead of it going to one person, it's going to an inbox that has access from 7 people in it. And so more people are checking it more frequently. It also allows us to have, one repository for all questions. So if we see a question coming in that's being asked a lot, it kind of indicates to us that we have a process in the application that needs clarification, and we can send out one notification to all applicants that, addressing that issue since multiple people are experiencing it. It also allows us to have that one place that all questions are going to, so that we can create and update frequently asked questions as well, instead of having it in multiple people's inbox. So in the same regard, if you have a lot of questions, right, you're going through, you're compiling questions, and you're like, it'd be so much easier just to have a phone call, and just knock these things out. Email that address, just indicate that you would like to have a meeting to discuss your application, and then we can schedule that meeting with you based on our availability, where we can just go through and knock out your questions all at once. So the main takeaway here is, use that inbox to communicate questions regarding the application. So I have the question pod open, and I am going to go through. If there is questions left that I cannot address because we run out of time, just know that all questions will be answered in the FAQ. We will be provided with a transcript from the questions pod, and we will be answering them and distributing them to everybody. Okay. Thank you, Tammy. It only, my family picture only shows 3 of my 4 kids. It's from like 2 years ago, so I need to get a new one. Shannon Webster. On the state funding slide, I believe number 15, was the state funding supposed to be $2,500,000 or $2,500? The state funding is $2,500,000. That is how much we have available for projects for this program cycle. Kim Lamers, will the email with the password to the application go to the person who submitted the application or our authorizing official? So the email with the link to the application and the password will go to the person who submitted the letter of intent. Tammy Regal, I noticed on our contract for calendar year 2022, we have a federal share of 80% and state share of 20%. Does this mean we are funded at 100% and did not need a local match? Tammy, I am going to answer that question later, because that might be, we had an issue with some of the contracts where it should have said local, but it said state. Amendments should have been sent out though, that clarified that. So I just need to check with Pamela on that one. Let me make a quick note if you guys don't mind.
Yes, Macy. Those changes have been made
Okay.
in there. I'm sorry.
Tina Burry, if we have multiple programs and only filing one application, then which program contact will get the application confirmation email? So again, Tina, you're only submitting one application regardless of how many programs. So RTC, for example, you typically get 5311, 5310, etc. So whoever you put as your program contact in the application will be the one that gets the confirmation. It's no longer based on program. So all of your public transit projects will be in one application, your mobility management project will be in one application, so on and so forth. On May 28th or March 28th, Aaron O'Neill, I don't know if I messed up, but the application will be released on March 28th. If I messed up, I apologize. The M months, sometimes I get mixed up. Jamie Smith, the ceiling for rural is 50,000. We have always been considered rural in Tuscarawas County. Are we really supposed to request funds for urban? So that is, it's kind of a difficult thing. It's not black and white. Tuscarawas County is rural. You will not receive urban funds. The population size for rural is up to 50,000. That is how it is defined. But if you look at the census map, there's no urbanized areas in Tuscarawas County. So it's not really county. It's difficult. Obviously, Tuscarawas County is not 50,000 people or less. So if you're serving the whole county, if you add up all the population, it's above 50,000. So it's not as cut and dry as I'm making it out to seem. But just to answer your question, Tuscarawas County is rural. And if anybody has questions about what they're considered, let us know. We're happy to help you with that. Janelle, if projects in the county change from the time the letter of intent was submitted until the time the application is submitted, maybe we submit the final request in the application. For example, if we need a vehicle and did not put this in the letter of intent, maybe request it in the application. Janelle, no. So you are only permitted to apply for for projects that were approved through the LOI. The reason for this is when we go through the LOI process, we are determining eligibility. So we're looking at, okay, you cats, you're asking for all of these projects. We are then considering if you're eligible. So technically, if you're applying for projects in the application that you weren't vetted for through the LOI, you may end up where you're not eligible. We won't know. We don't know you're applying for that. We haven't, basically approved you for that. However, let's say in the LOI you applied for vehicle replacements and you said, I want an MMV. But then come time for the application, you're like, I want an LTN, not an MMV. You can make those changes. Right? So if minute details within the projects themselves change between the LOI and the application, that's okay. But if it's a completely new project you didn't include at all in your LOI, then you're not permitted to apply for it. We did talk internally as a staff, and because this is a brand new process in terms of one application and just trying to transition to this new format, if you are someone who through these workshops you've gained some insight or understanding you didn't have before, that would have changed the way you submitted an LOI, you can reach out to us and let us know that you would like to be able to apply for XYZ projects, and then we can vet you for eligibility and approve you at that time. But the sooner you reach out, the better, because we do need to approve you. So you still need to get ODOT approval before submitting it in the application.